Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for joining us today, everyone. Today, we are going to talk about how big data is improving manufacturing outcomes, how a major US-based manufacturing company leveraged big data to achieve near zero downtime and improve overall performance. I'm Tracy Gardner, the Global Marketing Director of VLink Inc., and your host for today's webinar. Thanks for being here. I think you're going to enjoy the next 30 minutes. It'll go by fast, so make sure you hang on to your hat. And of course, we'll have time for question and answers at the end. Today, we'll discover how one of the biggest manufacturers of tools here in the US use data to streamline operations, fixing some of their supply chain and other logistic issues. Joining us are our esteemed panelists, Aditya Sagar, and he's the Senior Data Engineer at VLink, and Nitin Nijhawan, Chief Digital Officer at VLink, both of whom have a vast amount of experience in this big data space. Aditya is an expert in building custom data solutions on Microsoft Azure and Amazon Web Services. His domain knowledge lies into the manufacturing industries, and he has worked on numerous technologies such as Kafka, Apache Airflow, Spark, Scala, and Python. And Nitin has a passion for creating and driving transformation and innovation to clients. He leads the delivery of VLink's technology solutions, primarily through developing the firm's Center of Excellence around the globe. Thank you, Aditya and Nitin, for being members of our panel. Let's talk about what we're going to learn today in this webinar. A couple of things: how predictive analytics can reduce plant downtimes and improve manufacturing efficiencies, how to aggregate diverse and isolated data sets to derive insights for improving manufacturing economics, and identifying the right talent and transforming the business to make it a data-driven organization. So Nitin, let's get started with you real quick. Thanks for joining us, both of you, by the way. You helped a team of data engineers who went into this major tool manufacturing company, and you really kind of revolutionized their processes. Give us a kind of a 30,000-foot overview. I know Aditya was on the project on the factory floor helping collect data, and we'll speak to him more specifically. You'll be talking to him in the conversation here, but to give us a kind of a 30,000-foot overview of the project.
Okay, so this is a project that we did for a utility company that is manufacturing tools in US. It's a major manufacturer providing tools and utilities to retailers like Home Depot and Lowe's. That's what this company does. So what we did is we automated the process of data collection from plants, different manufacturing plants of this particular utility company across US. So the challenging part was to collect live data. I mean, that was the trickiest part in this whole exercise. So our job was to collect data from different sensors and at real time, as well as through the batch processes, and then massage the data using transformation rules, and then do predictive analytics on it, so that, and create dashboards, so that business can take decisions and alerts can be generated. So Aditya, since you are here and you were a critical component and a key engineer working on this engagement with the client, so can you tell us how difficult and easy it was to integrate live data sets across different manufacturing plants across US?
Sure. It wasn't just US, you were saying, but mostly it was all over the world, and all of those particular data sets all have a different schema, right? Since it was based, I think it started around 1990, and they have been maintaining those databases since then. So there's no particular way in that from the period of time that they'll be able to maintain the same schema starting from there. So we had to massage the same data, install some sensor chips for to get the live data from there, and massage that particular data into a unified data warehouse is what people call it, and use that particular data for dashboarding, predictive analysis, something like the machines going down, when the worker should be assigned to another machine, things like that.
Okay, you said that you have it's more of a predictive analytics and more of a real time. What are the different analytics parameters you captured from the plant? What about the different elements you were capturing?
Yeah. So the elements that we were capturing were mostly that what particular worker is working on that particular machine, what's the temperature for it, what SKU is it working on, is it a high priority SKU, is it a lower priority SKU, what particular SKU is, what particular order is related to that particular SKU, and when is it supposed to be delivered, is the machine over, going hot and it needs to be turned off, and things like that. And depending on that particular data that we had, we performed the analysis that, hey, this queue is higher priority, maybe we should double shift that and assign more workers to it and assign more machines to it, and things like, yeah, this particular SKU is not being created properly, and this particular machine has a problem with that, and we shifted that particular SKU to another machine. We also had some things like a machine just breaking on the floor, and we had to assign a technician, and that takes more time, like 3-4 hours. So instead of that, we took some preventive checks that, hey, if the machine is going too hot, maybe we should turn it off, and assign the workers to another machine. Mostly the machines were going down because the machines get obviously too hot or something happens to the machine. So the predictive analysis was related to the preventing the machines from breaking down in the first place, and reassigning the workers, hey, that there might be a chance that this particular machine will go down. That's what we'll do is we'll use another machine and perform a maintenance, quick maintenance on the machine that might have a chance of breaking down. And that also led to some more options that were open, like assigning less workers to that particular shift that maintenance was supposed to do, things like that.
Okay. Okay, you said that there is a so you captured a lot of vital statistics and elements as a part of. Do you have any architecture to demonstrate that? How you have integrated different sensors, where you're processing data, what tools and techniques you're using to do that? Do you have any architecture to explain that?
I believe we had an architecture. Taranjit, can you skip to that slide? It's possible.
You go ahead. There we go.
Yeah. So as you can see, we had some ERP data and data warehouses. We were using Azure Event Hubs for this particular manufacturer, and that's what we went ahead with. They were using Azure Event Hub is basically Kafka in the backend, and that's what we were using for processing using Databricks and analyzing the data using all of our data was using analyzed using either Data Factory, Databricks, and we merged those particular components and and use data lakes as well as Azure Synapse and massage the data and just use that data as a dashboard as well as for preventive analysis and things like that. We also had a couple of APIs that were querying the data real time and using their machine learning algorithms and sending a note or an alert to the manufacturing leader, I'll say, or whoever is there leading the floor at that particular point of time, the floor manager, and he took decisions based on that. And that will be kind of a minimal overview of the architecture. If I go into more details, it will take a lot of time, as you know.
Okay, that's wonderful. Looks like a lot of tools and a lot of products you mentioned are used, and most of them were specific to Azure. Is it something locked to a cloud vendor, like Azure tools you can only use to build it, or you can also use AWS and GCP tools to build this
you can
kind
use
of...
AWS. You can use AWS, GCP. You can also do a hybrid type of schema if you have the capacity already. You already have a service, but it's not really recommended unless you have servers based on different locations all throughout the world. Because as you know, what the usual manufacturer does is they have their servers just in one rack or 2 racks or 3 racks at most. And if there's anything like an outage that happened in Canada, if you remember just a while back, what happened with Rogers, they didn't have access to internet for quite a long time, and like 1/3 of their internet was down. At that particular point of time, if all of your racks were in Canada, you are pretty much left without any kind of data.
Okay, that's wonderful. You mentioned the very right example of Canada internet down, and how the particular architecture that you're describing actually helped us mitigate those risks that are coming from unprecedented site downs or internet downs. That's wonderful. So you also mentioned real-time and the batch processing streaming. What does it mean? Can you give us some examples and use cases around it?
Sure. Batch data would be a normalized data, which will be processed automatically. It's processed in hourly intervals or half a day, weeks, day. It just depends on how soon the data wants, how soon the data is needed actually. And streaming is basically the lifetime data, and that is tied up with the logistic side of the thing. So you can have a real-time view of, hey, this product was made, this particular SKU was made, and it's ready to be shipped. It was shipped at this particular time. And then you can, if you have a logistic integrated with your tools, you can also say that, hey, this product has been shipped and is on your route. And basically, you can have a lifetime view of where it's being shipped to, whether Home Depot, like you said, or something, some other seller. And at a particular point of time, you can reroute the all of those drivers to some other route if there's any kind of problem happening to a particular route. You can also pick out notorious drivers like, hey, this driver is not going through the accurate route that he should be going. He's taking the longer route, and we have to make sure that those things does not happen. And we can also do some preventive checks like this particular truck is heating up quite regularly. Maybe it's time to assign a new truck, or let our logistics know that, hey, this particular truck is having overheating issues regularly, and it's affecting our deliveries that are supposed to happen on a timely and
Okay, that's wonderful. The way you explained batch as well as real-time processing. Is it also applicable to other industries, these use cases?
Yeah, sure. As you know, I work with a healthcare domain, and they use their particular same live streaming thing on their machines there. That hey, a particular person that's under ICU has his mask disconnected or something like that, and there's an immediate notification to the person that's handling the ICU, that particular bed or whatever, and they get a notification immediately. Hey, there's something happened to this particular patient. Attend to him immediately. And you can also use the same logistics. I mean, there's some companies that only are based on logistics, so you can pretty much track it real time and see, and their whole thing can be based on just the logistic part of what we did, just tracking the shipments and making sure it's delivered on a timely manner. And you also have the option of letting the manufacturers know, giving them an API or something like that. That way they can track their shipments in real time and see, instead of calling you and you having to hire customer representative. A lot of, I mean, if you're a big shipment company and you just do logistics, you need to have a big customer representative force. And if you have an API, you can just give them an API and they can use their particular API to just track the shipments instead of having to hire multiple people.
Okay, you also mentioned, Aditya, sorry to interrupt here, about data warehouse. You said that you build a data warehouse by aggregating these distributed data sources. What is that you use to build data warehouse? I mean, there are a lot of warehouses available to us that you can use. I mean, people are generally confused. Companies have also built their in-house data warehouses. Since you are recommending an approach of integrating in the cloud environment, so what is that warehouse that we can use in cloud, and how it differs with the in-house warehouses?
Yeah, so something like Azure Synapse, perhaps, but it just depends on how available you want your data to be, and how frequent the dashboards are supposed to be updated. If you really want your dashboards to be updated real time, you really want something like a high-tech, like Azure Synapse, and making sure all of your data is immediately available on the dashboarding side of the views, and basically APIs will be able to do it real time. And that's something you want. That's something not possible. Like I gave the example of the outages and everything. That was a particular big outage, but things like racks catching on fire and things like that happen, and just the internet connection, losing internet connection in a particular building, or just fires, things like that, and other weather disasters happen a lot. So that's the most preventive measure that you can take, placing it on cloud. And you have the same data available multiple locations throughout the world, and you don't have to pay a team to manage it for you. It's just based on cloud. And
How long this project took?
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I was going to ask you a quick question, but go ahead. You go first.
Yeah, how long this project took? The integrating live plants data from different plants across the world, and then massaging, transforming, and then creating uniform data sets like uniform data model, so that you can map data of different schema from different plants into one uniform MDM, master data management, and then obviously massage it to render it. So how long it took for you to integrate, say for example, if they tell you I have to integrate 5 plants using these tools, how much time it will take?
It's a combination of what workforce you have and what data you have currently. If it's already in a unified way that all of the schemas throughout the 5 plants are the same, it's much quicker. You can have, if just 5 factories, we can have it done in a year or something, maybe a little bit more, but that's just depending on how many people you have. If you have a person sitting for each of the factory and handling it, it's much quicker, obviously. But you have just 2 people, 3 people, and you also need some people on the floor itself, checking like what's happening there, how the data is reported. And it's not just about data engineers itself. You also need data scientists, and they have their own. They have to get the data available first. So first you hire the data engineers, then you have the data there, then you need the dashboarding experts as well as the business analysts, as well as data scientists determining how we should use this particular data. I mean, the same use case cannot fit for everyone, right? So this particular project, I believe, was for 2 years or something like that, maybe more. What they were doing was they started with a migration, and then they went to the analysis part of the things.
That sounds great. And Aditya, just real quick, I wanted to ask, I know given all the supply chain issues we've had recently in the past 2 years, and they seem like they're continuing, I'm sure that this client saw this as an invaluable service to them. What feedback, Nitin, did you and Aditya receive from the client? And then we'll go to questions, unless you have anything else, Nitin, after that.
I would like to
Sure. So it was mostly feedback related to, can you be specific about the question? Like we received a lot of feedback. They wanted external widen. So is it something particular you're looking for, or
were they happy with the outcome of the project?
I see. Yeah, I believe they were really happy. The analysis needs to be done. I believe they're still doing some kind of analysis, and it's just an ongoing process. It will keep going and going. I believe they were happy. They had an initial view of everything that they wanted, and they were just developing more things.
Okay, great. Nitin, do you have anything else to add?
No, I think I'm good. Thank you for sharing your thoughts.
Let's take questions. Does anybody have any questions? I can unlock the panelists. Let me the participants and see if there's any questions, or you can put them in the chat on the attendees. Does anybody have any questions? Can you put them in the chat if you do, for Aditya and Nitin? We'd be happy to answer any questions in regard to the project, anything that you're wondering about. I know that one of my questions was, was the client happy? The other question was, I think that Aditya, you kind of danced around it a little bit, is that given the supply chain issues, this seems like it was really a timely project, even though I think it was somewhat before COVID, but I'm sure that it ironed out some issues that they had even going through COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you expound on that? Like how it would have helped the supply chain issues, and how down the line, just the sensors and being there helped the supply chain in the future?
Yeah, I can hear some echo. That's why I can hear some echo, I believe. Can you mute the panelists for a bit? I can hear some echo.
Oh, you're not hearing my question, Aditya?
I can hear your question. I just, okay, it's better now. Can you repeat that question again?
Sure. Just given the supply chain issues, I'm sure that this project, I think, was instituted before COVID, pre-COVID, and then after COVID. I'm sure that it made a difference in some of the supply chain and logistical issues they would have experienced post-COVID.
Yeah, I cannot give you exact numbers, honestly, but I believe they had, compared to other manufacturers, they had quite a reduction of number. They were able to address the issues as soon as they happened and see what were the problem areas, reroute the drivers and things like that. And that's what they did. They already had the data there and they were pre-prepared for that. So yeah, I would say so.
That's great. Nitin, I think we have a question in the chat. Anonymous attendee said, how much profit did you get? I'm not sure we can share that, but I'll let you address that.
Profit in the sense of what? For as a company implementing it, as an organization implementing this process. What is your question? If you can be more specific and clear, probably we can take a look at it.
And Nitin, how big was the team that was in the company? How many people were there?
Okay, so the companies that have used this. So you're typically talking about the ROI. So the company was able to reduce the deficiencies and identify the defects in the machines by 30%. So 30%, there was an improvement in the defect rate. They were able to proactively analyze that this particular machine is going down, so they need to proactively act on it. It was a big improvement. It was a pilot done on a couple of machinery plants, and that was a result of 6 months of exercise. After this, they were able to achieve this. Once they freeze, okay, there's a significant improvement, then only the project got a green light of implementing across all other manufacturing plants across the world.
Yeah.
Did I answer your question?
I believe so. I think that was very good. Other than SKU and temperature, what types of data did you capture from the shop floor, Aditya?
Usually ERP data, and I think mostly they were looking for preventive measures, and that was their goal. A lot of breakages were happening on their machine floor. A lot of the SKUs were going bad, and that was their most of the and some of the data is based in EU, and they have the GDPR. So it was basically you have to take that and take that and you have to have a view of it before you can implement it. So things like GDPR are very important and things like this. And we kept the micromanaging to a minimum.
Great, that's awesome. It looks like we might have another question in the chat. Let me check it real quick. I don't see any. That question, you did answer it correctly, Nitin, they said. So if there is no other questions, Nitin, do you have anything else that you want to talk about in regard to this project and sharing with the attendees today? And we so much appreciate you guys being here.
So no, I think I'm good, Tracy. It was a good project that we did. It was an industry 4.0 exercise. The company was having. It was a very big initiative, and we are proud that we were part of that instrumenting them and helping them achieve that vision of industry 4.0. Though we were not part of automating their machines by adding those sensors in the existing part and making them smart, but we were handling the IT part of it. So that was the thing that we did.
Great. Well, it sounds like you guys did great work, and we certainly appreciate you sharing what you did, Aditya. And thanks for building such a strong team, Nitin, and showing what our capabilities are. I think that definitely machine learning and AI and artificial intelligence is the wave of the future, and we're going to see a lot more of this type of thing. So, but we appreciate. If you guys don't have anything else, Aditya, do you have anything? We've got a couple minutes left. We're almost to the end here.
I believe you, Dan. So we can cover a few other industries, but I think that will be it. Something like logistics and healthcare domain we already cover. We can cover something like a manufacturer like Coca-Cola or something. So I believe we can implement the same kind of solutions. They have a factory where their particular products are being made, and they also have breakdown and things like that. But that's just an example of how the food and beverages industry can help, can be helped with these particular,
Absolutely.
these particular.
Absolutely. All right. Okay, so thank you, Aditya and Nitin. Very, very informative. You guys were great panelists. We're almost out of time, so we're going to go ahead and let everybody go early. Unless there's any more questions, please put them in the chat if there are. If you know of anyone who might enjoy this webinar, we'll be sending out a recording afterwards, so please send it along to them. And we will see you all next time. Thanks again for attending.
Thank you, Tracy, for coordinating it, and thank you.
And Nitin's contact information and Aditya's contact information is on the screen here. So if you need to contact them, feel free to take a screenshot or do whatever you need to do to get a hold of them if you have any other questions. And thanks again for joining us. Wait a minute, I do see something coming through. Yes, the recording is available to join, is available. We'll send it out to everyone, all the attendees. The recording is available. So thanks again, and we'll see you next time. We do these on a regular basis, and we'll send out more information. Thanks for attending, and thanks again, Aditya and Nitin. Nice job.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.